Hey everyone, welcome back. It's the first week of 2023, so Happy New Year. Unfortunately, if you're a student, that also means that you have to start thinking about landing that summer internship for 2023. So, with that being said, in this video, we're going to talk about what are the pro tips to help you land that interview for the summer of 2023. Oh, by the way, it's coffee time. So today I got some dark roast and it's great. Super black. It's awesome. So when it comes to interview prep, specifically for data scientist positions, right? We're talking about data science interns, data science analysts, or just your regular data scientist roles. There are basic stuff that you have to cover, right? Probability theory, machine learning, the data science stuff, right? And then when it comes to data science stuff, all those keywords you have to jot down, right? Write them down on paper, make sure you understand all of them. And there are lots of materials online, lots of tutorials online, walk you through what those lists are. Data wrangling, data processing, building a machine learning model, evaluation, do some sampling, bootstrap, what is the bias of the model, and how do you get it deployed. And then after that, maybe there's some software engineering questions, right? What's a Docker file? And how do you pack everything together? How do you write a software? How do you do a backend? So on and so forth. So in this video, I thought to take a step away from this because all this stuff you can find online, right? You don't need me to repeat that for you guys. What I'm going to show you guys in this video is the things that you are absolutely not going to read from the website, okay? And that comes from mainly two resources. The first is my personal resources, because as you guys know, I'm a hardo, right? Every data scientist job I got, I applied for hundreds of them. Like for instance, before I got a senior data scientist job, I applied for 800 jobs. And I go on interview for as many as I can. I collect the information, increase my sample size, collect the data, and I jot down a list of documents of mistakes that I personally make. So, by doing all of this, it doesn't necessarily make me a good data scientist interviewer. It doesn't necessarily get me past all the interviews either. It just means that I have a large sample of personal mistakes that I'm making so I don't do them again, right? So really, that's what this video is about. Everyone is built different. Everyone has a personal experience. There's no one size fit all scenario, right? So your experience is unique. It depends on your past interactions of all the data sets out there that you've seen and how you think about it. So that's your domain. It doesn't matter what field that is. Maybe it's not that in depth either. That's okay. Show people you have that domain knowledge and show people where that come from. Based on things I've seen, most of people who claim that they have some sort of domain that they're either spend a lot of time on doing research or they end up choosing that as a career, they most likely have a big passion for it. Because think about it like this. To get past that beginner level of data science, it's actually very easy. You find a tutorial online, you have a college degree, you can probably figure out yourself, right? But how do you get past that level? You really need to spend a lot of time understand each data set. And the more data set that you understand, that you get in touch with in that domain, that's going to be what's taken to build that domain knowledge for you. So it's like a person, right? So every data set is like a person. You spend more time with the person, you know his or her personality, you know what they like. And if you know what they like, then you guys can go out together, have a good time. So data set comes down to really feel like that. And you should really feel like that instead of I'm telling you that, right? The more time you hang out with the data and the more time you dig into what's going on in different partitions, in different columns, rows, what this data set is talking about, you should be able to develop a sense of the pros and cons of this data set. There's no data set that's perfect. Some data sets are easy to understand, some are not. Just like people, right? There's no one size fit all. So coming back to the interview pro tip, it's your job to show the interviewer that you are on track of doing that, right? Because when you get on a job, if you are hired, chances are people are there to help you. They're going to give you the source code. They're going to give you the package. This technical stuff, you're more likely going to figure out on the job. They don't need you to tell them that. They can kind of see that from your resume. What the interviewer needs to see is you have the passion to figure out whether this is your domain or not. And if you even step further than that, you can even show people that this is your domain. And if it's not, that's okay. Show people that you're on track of figuring that out. The second pro tip that I always miss in the beginning of my career, in the beginning of my interview experience, is to know your audience. Now, these three words are easier said than done, right? Know your audience, know your audience. What does that even mean, right? In a common data science interview, there are typically 3 rounds. So the human resource or the recruiter is going to give you a call, put you in touch with whoever want an interviewer. The hiring manager is going to give you a first round. And that second round is probably going to be technical interview. There's some coding exercises. Whereas the third round, you're probably going to be in the team. And in the team, there are all sorts of different people. So based on the situation I've seen, if you got that call, then chances are you're going to get to that first round interview. Because they already saw your resume, they kind of know that you might be the right person. That's why they called you in the first place. So if you get the call and you did the first round interview, I would recommend you start immediately prep for the second round and the third round. Don't waste your time, right? Second round, you can get past it by doing lots of exercises. Again, lots of basic stuff online. Do some lead code, whatever you need to do, get past that technical interview. The third step is what I want to talk about, which is this pro tip of know your audience, right? Think about what are the roles that's needed in a data science team. Well, obviously, you have your manager, right? Chances are it's going to be some sort of director position, right? Director in data science, director in product, they need to be on board of hiring this person. Because if they even disagree, then you don't really have a chance. So the first type of audience is director level personnel. And then after that, who are some other people on the team, right? You have a data scientist. Maybe these are your colleagues. They just happen to be in that position perhaps a few months earlier than you do. So they're kind of like your peers. And then you probably have senior data scientist, machine learning engineer, or software engineer. And then you might also have some IT background, tech people to support a team, support the infrastructure that build up the product together. So usually, based on the hundreds of interviews I've seen, if the data science job that you apply is from a mid to large size company, then chances are it's going to be a well-rounded team, right? And we're talking about 3 rounds of interview. And that third round, it's going to be at least 5 people that are spanning from different backgrounds. So right off the bat, there are a couple of types of audience, right? Director, data scientist, senior data scientist, machine learning engineer, software engineer, IT. And of course, they can be overlap, right? It doesn't have to be 7 different people interviewing altogether. Probably 3 to 5 people. And that forms the third round of interview. And if they all say yes, then congratulations, you're going to get a job. So know the audience is really about when you walk into the interview room talking with these people, you want to get a sense of where they come from and what kind of stuff that they've done that interests them. So of course, they're there to evaluating you. They're asking your questions, trying to get an understanding of your background, but they're not there to point fingers. You know, they don't gain anything from putting you down. Okay? So it's your job to show confidence, show that you're passionate about this career, and show that you understand, and more importantly, you want to understand, you want to learn what these people are coming from, what their backgrounds are. So first thing that I want to mention is when you do the third round interview and talk to all these different audiences, sure, you might get scared because these people are perhaps 10, 20 years more experienced than you do. But that's okay, right? That's the learning curve. You want to show them that you're willing to learn. And based on my experience, I think everybody is different, right? And you might think, oh yeah, it's straightforward. Let me just cut people in different categories and prepare the same conversation for that category, right? And then you might be like, oh yeah, data scientist, I'm going to prepare one set of topics. Software engineer, I'm going to prepare another set of topics, and then so on and so forth. I think that's maybe a little bit naive way to think about this kind of stuff, even though it sounds straightforward. So the reason it's naive is because even though these people are there to ask you questions, their main purpose is not to put you down. Their main purpose is to understand what you can do, what your potential is. So in other words, it's really about a two-way bridge, right? Instead of preparing for different topics, thinking about how well you know these audience, why don't you just show who you are and show what you can do and show your passion is and talk about your passion, talk about what you want to do in those conversations. If they're same, then so be it, because that's the truth, right? So having been in both sides of the table in the past, sometimes what I think people do is students come in and they trying to show a lot of technical stuff, right? This is the chance for me to understand who you are, not for me to understand your grades. I don't need to understand your grades. I can see that from the resume, right? So what I really want to understand is, let's talk about your dreams, right? What do you want to do right now? What do you want to do in 5 years? And do you have an entrepreneurial mindset? Because data science is highly innovative, right? Every project has a stakeholder. Now, if you think about that way, really, the data science team by itself create product because somewhere else in the business needs that product. So if you don't come in with an entrepreneur mindset, you will not have that incentive to go out there, to go outside of the team, to talk to different people and get a project. And that's a problem, right? That means even if you are hired, they can probably use you for 1 or 2 years and you might hit a roadblock from moving above and beyond. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it's a good amount of information for you that you can take to go. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next episode.